In this episode of Revolution Report, we're going to discuss the Trump administration's recent activity trying to dismantle the Department of Education, how it's representative of the fascist regime currently in power, and what we can do about it.
Before we get started, we wanted to let you all know that on our website, handballcourtradio.com, we now have a way to donate to the station. We fund the station with our own money, and if you appreciate our content and the work we do, we'd really appreciate any donations to help us cover our operating costs.
And thank you so much to everyone that has donated. It means the world.
It really does.
But also, we completely understand that the economy is in a really dire place right now. And if you're not able to donate, of course we still love and appreciate you. We're so happy you're here. Now, let's get into the episode.
Let's do it.
It's no secret that Trump and his administration have been attacking education in the United States for years. From making Betsy DeVos the head of the Department of Education in his first term, to his numerous attacks on higher education, Trump has been committed to destroying the educational systems in this country.
Trump continued his destruction of the Department of Education this June with his decision to make special education and civil rights the jurisdiction of other agencies. This act not only removes some of the Department of Education's most significant responsibilities from their care, but it also helps Trump make progress towards his despicable promise to dismantle the department.
And not only is this action detrimental to the DOE, it is also a blatant attack on minority groups in the United States. Let's break this one down. The Department of Education offered vital support for special education across the country. It distributed billions of dollars to fund programs and make sure that schools and states were complying with the Disabilities Education Act, which guarantees access to education for disabled students.
Yeah. The Department of Education also funded career counseling and vocational programs for disabled students. And now, that is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Health and Human Services, which is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
Because Robert F. Kennedy Jr., aka RFK Jr., is the head of the HHS. And that man is absurdly ableist and discriminatory.
Which not only shows the devotion that this administration has to discrimination in this country, but it also shows blatantly what he is doing. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has spent decades spreading misinformation about autism and stigmatizing autistic people, and believes neurodivergent people should be cured. That despicable. And he's now in charge of special education in this country. Again, as I said before, this is not an accident. And it's something we should all be furious about.
110%. How can we trust him to be responsible and make sound decisions? We can't, given his track record. What's going to happen to special education in the U.S.? Will students be able to get the education that they need and deserve?
And I know that this may be a controversial take, but I don't believe this is controversial at all. Segregation is still alive and well in this country. And the fact that we think that we have moved past that is absurd, because we are literally segregating students into what we believe they are capable of, which leads to less access to education, which leads to further gaps in learning.
Yeah, and it's only going to get worse with someone like RFK Jr. in charge of special education.
Yes. This is deeply, deeply concerning. The Office of Civil Rights under the DOE had a very important role. It investigated claims filed by students, families, or advocates of violations of civil rights by schools and colleges that receive federal funding, which is the vast majority of educational institutions.
Yeah. They investigated claims of discrimination based on race, gender, religion, and disability status. And if they found proof of discrimination, threatened to revoke federal funding unless the school corrected the discrimination. They were basically ensuring at a federal level that students could have access to education theoretically free from institutional discrimination.
Now, was the system always perfect? Absolutely not. We are not going to sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
But it's about to get way worse. Now that the Office of Civil Rights is being moved to the Department of Justice, which has no interest in investigating these claims.
Yeah. Trump has previously targeted the Office of Civil Rights, using them to enforce his discriminatory and ridiculous attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs across the country, like stopping efforts to close education gaps between students of color and their white peers, or stopping trans students from participating in school sports. This recent action is just another step in his plan to get rid of the DOE for good.
The Department of Education was instrumental for many students getting care, support, and the justice that they need. And having these agencies all under one roof made complete sense, considering they all fell under the education umbrella. Now, with the agencies redistributed to other departments, students and families will have to jump through even more hoops to fill out even more paperwork just to get the support that they need and, quite frankly, is a right.
Yeah. And as we've discussed before, Trump and his administration are intentionally encouraging anti-education and anti-intellectualism sentiments throughout the country. And that's because it's easier to control a population and force your will upon the people if they aren't knowledgeable enough to recognize what's going on and resist.
It's almost like that's the underpinnings of fascism.
As we've discussed, yeah.
As we've discussed in many episodes, go check them out with the history of fascism and our fascism guide in the modern age.
Mm-hmm.
And from that episode, we know that anti-intellectualism is a core tenet of fascism. We're living in a fascist state. We're not here to scare you, but we are here to tell you the truth because we care about this community and we care about what is happening in this country.
Absolutely.
Now, with everything that we've discussed, everything that we have covered, Trump's attacks on education are not a surprise, but they are a serious issue, and we have to do something about it.
If you didn't already know, Trump's attacks on education follow the historical precedent set by the Nazis. The Nazis gutted Germany's education system to replace it with their own. They changed what was taught in schools, just as the Trump administration and its supporters are trying to do today.
They also targeted professors whose teachings opposed their fascist policies, as does Trump now. And they targeted students and teachers a part of marginalized groups, including Jewish people, to push them out of access to education and prevent them from being present in the classroom. Now, with everything we've discussed and how the current education system is set up, doesn't that sound familiar?
Absolutely. And we are dangerously close to that because that is what will happen here in the United States, that explicit banning, if Trump and the people in power who support him get their way. Make no mistake, these policies, these attacks on inclusive education and programs specifically set up to support marginalized communities will absolutely lead to further discrimination and eventually lead to access to education being revoked.
That should be horrifying to anyone who hears it. So not only are Trump's attacks on the Department of Education a part of his anti-intellectual agenda, they also feed into hateful white supremacist ideology.
We can't let this anti-intellectualism and discriminatory sentiment continue to grow. Is it a coincidence that caring about your education and being educated is considered cringe by some? Ask yourself who believing education is cringe benefits. Not the common people, that's for sure. It benefits the people at the top. It benefits fascists. And it benefits people who want to keep the class system the way it is, so they can exploit the American people.
Now, isn't that the truth? Because education is the easiest pathway to class mobility, and the people in power have a vested interest in the population, including marginalized groups remaining in their classes. They don't want to share their wealth. They don't want to change who has access to power. They want to keep being able to profit off of others.
So, what can we do about Trump's attacks on the Department of Education and the spreading of anti-education sentiment? For one, don't let him or any representative think that this is wanted by their constituents. We'll share links on our website, handballcourtradio.com, to resources that will connect you with your representatives to express your frustration. The National Education Association has an email template ready to go. All you need to do is fill in your information. And the Action Network will send letters lobbying representatives to fight back on your behalf.
Brilliant. Second, we've got to truly focus on advocacy on the state and local level, in addition to the federal level, of course. But make sure your local politicians know you care about their educational policies, not just the national ones. As federal protections and fundings become more and more limited, state and local funding becomes all the more important. We'll include a link to a collection of resources from the Legal Defense Fund that will help you advocate on a local level, as well as provide you with information you need to fight back.
Another thing that you can do is submit public comment on federal regulations. Legally, the public is allowed to provide their feedback directly to lawmakers this way, and we'll include a link to a guide that will walk you through providing public comments on regulations.gov, so you can ensure that your thoughts on federal regulations will be heard.
Give your feedback, baby.
Absolutely.
You can also support the legal advocacy that is already underway. There are already lawsuits suing the Trump administration for their attacks on the Department of Education. So, if you're in the position to, you can donate to the NAACP and the ACLU to support their fights in court.
Education is a right, and we're not just going to sit by and watch our rights get taken away. And as important as all of these actions are, it's also important to build community on a local level. Community support and collective action will be essential as we fight back against this hateful, fascistic administration.
So, as you lobby your representatives about the attacks on education, reach out to members of your community and join together to make your power even stronger. There is power in numbers. There are so many horrific things happening in this country, and the only way we'll get through this is by community. And here at Revolution Report, we want to build community, not only among our listeners, but encourage you to support your own local communities. Even if you yourself aren't targeted directly by these attacks on education, your neighbors, your family, your friends might be. So let's stand together in solidarity, because that's how we win.
Absolutely. Solidarity forever. That's about it for this episode. We hope it was informative.
As always, you can check out our website, handballcourtradio.com. There, if you appreciate the work we do, you can donate to help us cover our operating costs. Also, you can follow us on Blue Sky at Handball Court Radio, and you can follow me there at Sarah Livings-Walsh.
I'm there as Not Like Mona Lisa. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and follow us. And if you're watching on YouTube, we'd love it if you like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss our content.
And with that, I'm Sarah Livings-Walsh.
I'm Analisa Venolia.
And this has been Revolution Report.